this is the complementary and supplementary angles video. Linear pair. Two angles form a linear pair if and only if they are adjacent and their non-common sides are opposite rays. So basically, if two angles make up a line, then it's a linear pair. So looking at this example here, these two angles, angle 1 and angle 2, make up this line. They're adjacent, they're right next to each other, they share this ray BD, which means they're adjacent, and they make a line. If they make a line, they are called a linear pair, which makes sense. Linear means line. Supplementary angles. Two angles are supplementary if and only if the sum of their degree measure is 180. So sum means if you add up the two angle measures and they add up to equal 180, then they're called supplementary angles. So in this example, 45 plus 135 equals 180. Therefore, these are called supplementary angles. If the angles add up to equal 180, the vocab word for that is supplementary. Okay, there's a postulate about this. It says if two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary angles. So anytime two angles, or 3 or 4 or whatever, if they make a line, then they're going to add up to equal 180 no matter what. So anytime you look at a picture, if you see angles that make a line, then you can go ahead and say, okay, I know they're going to add up to equal 180. Okay, so I can subtract one of them from 180 to get the other. Alright, for example, if the measure of angle 3 is 115 and 3 and 4 are a linear pair, so angles 3 and 4 are a linear pair, so they're going to make this line here together. They're adjacent angles that make up a line. Okay, it says if angle 3 is 115 degrees, so if this angle here is 115 degrees, what is angle 4? So a linear pair has to be supplementary, and supplementary means they add up to equal 180. So if I take 180 minus 115, I will find the other angle. Which is 65. Okay, so it's very useful to know that angles that make a line are supplementary, because I can always just subtract from 180 and find the other missing angles, which is nice. Alright, example 2, find the measure of angle IKJ. So IKJ would be this angle here, I to K to J. Okay, again, these are making a linear pair. HKJ is a line. Okay, so this is a linear pair. So linear pairs are supplementary. So I can take 180 minus the 110, and that'll give me the angle that I don't know. So this angle here is 70. 110 plus 70 is 180. So we're using the angle addition postulate, but we're saying, okay, I know they add up to equal 180. So that's the number I'm going to be using, is 180 every time. Alright, RSVT and QVU supplementary. So SVT is this angle here, labeled 40, and QVU is this angle here, labeled 140. Well, if they're supplementary, they're not a linear pair, because they're not adjacent and they don't make a line, but they could still be supplementary. Remember, supplementary means that they add up to equal 180. So do these add up to equal 180? Well, clearly they do. 140 plus 40 is 180. So are these supplementary? Yes, they are. The definition of supplementary is just two angles that add up to equal 180. They don't have to be a linear pair to be supplementary, but if they're a linear pair, they have to be supplementary. All right, another vocab word is complementary angles. Two angles are complementary if and only if the sum of their degree measure is 90. So again, sum means to add. So if you add up their angles and it equals 90, then they're complementary. So these two angles, 40 plus 50 equals 90. So these two angles here are complementary. Supplementary means add up to equal 180. Complementary means add up to equal 90. Okay? Complementary angles will a lot of times look like this. They'll be adjacent and they will make a right angle, because a right angle is 90 degrees. So with supplementary, a lot of times in the picture it'll look like a line. Complementary, a lot of times in the picture it will look like a right angle. Okay? So since this is a right angle, I can take 90 degrees, which is the entire angle, subtract the angle that I have, and that will give me the angle that I don't have. Okay, complementary means they add up to equal 90. So 90 minus 70 would leave me the other angle would have to be 20. All right, our angle XZY and WZY complementary. So XZY is this angle that is labeled 60, and WZY, WZY. Okay, initially looking at the picture just off of what's labeled, a lot of us would want to say yes, 30 plus 60 is 90, yes, they're complementary, but the two angles they asked about are actually not complementary. Okay? They asked about this green angle and the blue angle. So those are not complementary. If they had asked about the blue angle and WZV over here in red, then we would say yes, but that's not what they asked. They asked, is that really big angle, WZY, is that complementary to XZY? And no, they do not add up to equal 90. They do not make a right angle. Okay? So the answer here would be no. All right, example 6. Angles C and D are supplementary. If the measure of angle C is 12x and the measure of angle D equals 4x plus 5, find x, then find the measure of angle C and the measure of angle D. So if they're supplementary, supplementary means that they add up to equal 180. Okay? So I know that the measure of angle C, which is 12x, plus the measure of angle D, which is 4 times x plus 5, should equal 180, because that's what supplementary means. Okay? And then just solve the equation from here. Then we'll find x, then we can plug x in and find angle C and angle D. So start by distributing. So we'll have 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 5 is 20. Bring down our 12x, that's a positive 4x, equals 180. Combine your like terms, so that'll be 16x plus 20 equals 180. Subtract your constant from both sides, and you'll get 16x equals 160, and then divide by 16. So x is 10. So that's part of your answer. They wanted x, and we found that. Okay? Then we want the measure of angle C. The measure of angle C was 12x. So take x out and plug in 10. So the measure of angle C would be 120 degrees. Angle C is 120. If I want the measure of angle D, I can take it and plug it in, and PEMDAS, that would be fine. So I'd get 4 times 15. 4 times 15 is 60. So angle D is 60. I'm allowed to do that. But I'm also allowed to say, okay, I know that these are supplementary. So if I just take 180 minus 120, I would have gotten 60 for angle D quicker. So I have to plug it into 1, but once I have 1, I can subtract from 180 and get the other much faster.